Welcome to the Getting High on Leadership series featuring Paul Karasik. Paul is one of America's top management consultants helping leaders succeed. He is the author of 9 books, including Sweet Persuasion and Brilliant Thoughts and Provocative Questions. His insights appear regularly in major publications, and he is one of the most sought-after executive coaches. Paul founded the American Seminar Leaders Association and the Psychedelic Institute of Los Angeles. He is a popular speaker at national conferences and has been on stages across all 50 states and internationally. Paul's work addresses the question, how can we transform conflict in business into collaboration? With decades of experience in management, leadership, and psychedelics, he brings a unique perspective on personal and societal growth. In this series, we'll be discussing his latest book, Getting High on Leadership, The Leader's Guide to Higher Consciousness. We'll be exploring the concepts, techniques, and mindset required to revolutionize leadership. Enjoy. What's up, everybody, and welcome back to the series. My name is Sanchez, your host, and we are joined by Paul Karasik, author of Getting High on Leadership. And as we make our way through the book, we're spending some time in each section learning more about it and looking at how it can contribute towards a higher level of leadership, a more conscious level. Today's section is called Every Boat Needs a Rudder, and it can be found on page 67. And Paul, take us off here.
Yeah, this is a very valuable piece to the puzzle. And this chapter is about values. Because values determine choice making and decision making. So, for example, if my highest value was integrity and honesty, that was the most critical value that we share together. Every time we get to a turning point, every time we get to a place where a decision has to be made, the values determine that decision. The values guide the decision. So, for example, let's take something like war, like if you were a soldier, right? Soldiers have certain values that guide their behavior. If you're actually an infantryman, right? And so if you're disciplined and I'm disciplined, we're going to approach things from the same manner all the time. We're going to be unified in our approach, right? Bravery, another core element for a warrior, for a soldier, to be brave, to face gunfire, to face things that are harmful. If I was brave, if we didn't share that value, then we wouldn't be as effective in any situation. If both of us shared that same value, then we could be much more effective. So teamwork, values. So now we go to war, now we go out into the field, and situations arise. You're over there and I'm over here, but your values are the same as my values. So we're going to approach this situation from a unified viewpoint, because we're making those values are affecting our decision makers. We can take that hill, but we have to be brave. We have to be able to run out into that area, run across that field to be able to take that hill, using the same analogy. Well, I'm brave and you're brave. Let's do it. Let's do it. I mean, we almost don't even need communication. You could look at the hill and I could see you, and I just see, yeah, we're going over there. Because we both understand that we have to be brave and we have to get to that hill to be able to take this situation. So now we're working the best possible way, right? We have same values. We're going to make the same decisions given the same circumstances. But if you were not brave, if you were scaredy cat, for example, you would sit there. Our mission is to take this hill so we can win the war. I'm too scared. I don't want to do it. Now I can't do it alone. Now the effectiveness because you're not brave enough to run across that field, we just sit here. We just sit here because you don't have that value that I have. I have the value of bravery and courage. You
Right.
don't have the value of bravery and courage. So I'm stuck. I can't do it without you. Values make or break a mission and a vision, because the team, it's where we align. If our value is to work hard, and 5 o'clock comes, and my value is, that's part of our culture, that we work hard, and I'm not encouraging this, but sometimes you have to work late, and sometimes you have to work, like all kinds of different things. If we had that same value, then when 5 o'clock came, you and I would just say, hey, let's finish this up. Not, okay, we're done, goodbye, where's my coat, where's my hat, I'm out of here. But you and I shared, we see the clock hitting 5 o'clock, and we just go like, that's not going to change. We're going to finish this.
Right.
We're going to get
Almost
it done
done.
today. Yeah, and because that's our value. Another company, the value may be, and I've worked for companies like this, where the value is when that clock hits 5 o'clock, we are gone. We are, and
Yeah,
then,
I've
by
seen
the
them
way,
where the desks start to clean up like
at
20 minutes
4:30.
before that, right?
Oh yeah. Oh, many times. Yeah, 4:30 you start putting your pens away. Yeah, and it takes a half hour to put those pens away.
With
You know, that wasn't a bad culture, by the way. The culture
It's
that
just
I was talking about at that company, that was
values.
it was just their values, and
Right.
because why? Because in that particular industry, people tended to work late, tended to work all night, and what they saw was that everybody in the company was getting divorced. I mean, that's really what triggered the whole change of the culture.
I saw some work-life balance issues, huh?
There was no work-life balance. I mean, 5 o'clock would come, people working. They had wives, children. They would stay. They'd work through dinner. Many of these projects would go well into the night, midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning, and everybody's marriage in the company was destroyed till somebody said, hey, no. Here's our culture. Our culture is 5 o'clock. We jam from the morning till 5.
Work hard.
We work hard.
Stop work.
We put it out there. There's no going on social media and how do you feel, and let's do a 2-hour lunch. None of that stuff going on there. But 5 o'clock comes, they're out of there. And so you get the point of the story. It's that unity on the values that creates the culture. And we go through a process in my leadership workshops where we begin to define those. Sometimes they're unspoken. Sometimes people are conscious of them. Sometimes we have to set them, that there's been no real looking at what's our real values. I mean, people will always come up with honesty or integrity or something like that. That's one of our values, core to anything in business as far as I'm concerned. But those unique, more specialized, more, how are we different type values or that's is best done as a group. As I described before, when the group takes an interest in it, and we do a process where everybody can kind of like hone in all these values, pick the values that are most core, and then as a group we refine them and kind of combine them and come up with 3 to 5 specific values.
And I think in this section you talk about, values providing stability and values providing trust. And I think that's something that some cultures and teams can really lack and can pull things off the productive path. And, for a leader, knowing that values are at the heart of this, and that, redefining their values or communicating those values, finding instances of where they're actually upheld, and maybe finding others where they're forgotten in your whatever leadership arena you're in, I think is definitely important, because you want to be able to have those underlying pillars that are helping everyone make those decisions and act accordingly, even when someone's not there to tell them exactly what to do, right? Those values are far-reaching when set correctly, and then I think you also mentioned that they're hidden, that the values can be, they're set so early in the construction phase that you don't see them in the final product, right?
Execution,
When you're
yeah.
going through that. So, what are your thoughts around the importance of values, yet sometimes the difficulty to really see them for what they are or to notice them in every situation?
It's inherent. It's in the fabric. You know, it's communicated, but it's apparent. What I'm suggesting is, let's choose those values. Let's choose them carefully, and let's communicate them to everybody on the team. And let's let the team also, like I said earlier, be a part of that process. And in the next chapter, we'll look at some of those values and some of those choices, just to put them out there, and we'll get into into the nitty gritty of this. How do we determine our values? But I think we're in this chapter. We're just opening up the point that you have to clarify your values and you have to communicate the values, because these are the tools that people use to make decisions. To your point, Rob, when you're not there, when they're in the trenches alone, when they're out in the battlefield and the bullets are flying and the decisions have to be made, they're going to make the right decision based on those values. They don't have to ask you. Those values guide those decisions when you're out there in the actual battlefield, so to speak. So,
Hey, thank you, Paul. And thank you, everyone, for listening and watching. As always, you can find a link to the ebook below in the show notes. And feel free to start from the beginning of the series or join us on the next episode. Thank you. Thank you for joining us on this episode of the Getting High on Leadership series. If you have any questions, you can comment below or send them in via email to paul@paulkarasik.com. Follow him on Instagram at PK_the conversation. Find out more at wholesalerinstitute.com and psychedelic-awakening.com. The Getting High on Leadership series is produced by Rob Sanchez and Apartment 113, which can be found at apartment113.com and followed on Instagram at APT_113.